So we are here at the Frog Pond. Today is April 2nd, 2021. We're here with the GM of the Frog Pond, Alex Victorero, and we are here to discuss the impact of COVID-19 on the restaurant industry, specifically the Frog Pond. And we have some questions prepared for you. It'll be a little bit of a discussion. We will have some questions to ask, but of course some of the things we say will also be based off your responses. And this is somewhat informal, so don't stress too much. We're going to start off with some general questions about you and kind of the industry as a whole, and then we'll get into a little bit more COVID and business-specific questions as well. The two interviewers that you'll be speaking to today will be Amadeo Brandon and Natalie Shaver, and they will be taking it away.
All right.
Okay, so the first question we had for you was, what is your role at the Frog Pond?
At the Frog Pond, I basically run all of our day-to-day operations. I hire prospective staff. We train them. We serve fantastic people here, mainly breakfast and lunch. We open the doors at 7, close at 2. Make sure that our health and safety protocols are in order, make sure that everybody gets paid, everybody leaves happier than they came, as we like to say. If there's any maintenance issues, I either find somebody to do it or I do it. If there's any issues, I'm always here, always available. The guests or our staff, they have any concerns, issues, or glows, if you will, as far as just being happy, I'm here for them. That's pretty much, I run the operation 100%.
Okay, great. And the next question was, how long have you been in the restaurant industry? And have you always operated as GM of a restaurant? Or have you been employed in other positions in the hospitality industry?
So when I was a kid, I started out as a server. Did graveyard shifts when I was 17 years old at Perkins as a server. Worked really hard to get that job. It was fun, interesting time. So that was my first in-person, on the floor kind of job. Before that, fast food was in the kitchen. I did that for a little bit. And then in 2007, I started working for Flipper's Pizzeria. And that's when I started the restaurant management portion of, I guess, my life, because it's a career, but it's a lifestyle too. And from there, I learned how to be an assistant manager. Worked part-time as a cook for about 6 months, and then I was an assistant manager for about 6 months, and then I was a general manager all the way through. And then I got this opportunity in 2013. So I came here in 2013, and I've been the general manager of here after a month of training at the Reddington Beach location since I've been here. So almost 8 years now here at this restaurant, doing restaurant management.
And how do you think your business has impacted the community, both before and after the pandemic?
So for our community, the Frog Pond in St. Pete Beach has been around here for almost 40 years, longer than I've worked here. In that time, it's grown, it's shrunk, but the two original owners, Bill and Dennis, really prided themselves on giving people an experience, one that felt safe, one that felt friendly, one where when you left, you were full and satisfied, and you had a great time interacting with both the guests that frequented the location and the staff that worked there. And that's what we've done here for 13 years. We've been at this establishment, and we've continued that tradition of making sure that there's more food on your plate than you can finish. And it's tasty and delicious, and you have service with a smile every time you come in. I think that the way we've impacted people before COVID, anybody that's coming to this area, if you walk down the streets, they tell you about it because people like to come here. It's been a landmark on the beaches for that time, and you always feel good about telling somebody to come here. So it's always been a great place for the hotels and for the condo associations to prefer people to come and have breakfast or lunch. We help out our communities in a lot of ways. We don't do a lot of advertising as far as payment is concerned. We do a lot of community things. So if somebody's having like a raffle, or if they're doing a silent auction and they're trying to raise money for their own organizations or their community at large, a lot of people come here. We give them gift certificates, and then people come in and they get to enjoy our food. And we also help the community that way. So it's kind of it's a grassroots kind of thing where people know about us. We're generous in that way, just with the portions we give you when we serve it to you. And in turn, with the community at large, we do that. And it's great. There's a lot of different organizations that we do support, like Dine Out for Life. Every year, we donate on that day for both locations to support research for HIV and AIDS. The owners of the company are very passionate about that. As far as the people that come in here, we make lots of relationships with many people. And, I think to a good degree, the people in our establishment, we send people out ready to go face their day and get them on a good jump, if you will, no pun intended, with their lives. And they look forward to coming in here, and we look forward to coming and seeing them. And just makes the reciprocity of it all. It's a really good, positive feeling you get, coming into the restaurant every day. So those are the ways. As far as during COVID, we've stayed open to the public as much as the ordinance would allow. We had to close 4 days a week because the to-go business just really wasn't there, and a lot of people weren't coming out to the beaches at that time. So that was rough because I like being open 363 days a year. However, the people that did come, they were happy to support us. A lot of our regulars, they came in and got their breakfast or lunch, just to support us. So it was nice to see the community and the people that come in really care about our restaurant, and in turn they saw that we cared with making sure that everything we did was safe for them. We still cooked them excellent food. We didn't make the portions any smaller. We kept everything the same so that they knew what they were getting when they came here. We kept the standards high. And when we were transitioning from the complete close, where it was pickup only, to the dining being limited, we made sure that we kept everybody separated and did everything we could to make sure that everything was sanitized, that everything was safe, and the people appreciated that, and they saw that, and they continued to come. So, other than not making as much money, of course, as we would, especially during the height of season, because it was this time last year, that was basically the biggest impact, was just financially, and not seeing some of the people that we would normally see coming from up north, keeping those relationships. Sometimes they'd call and we would talk on the phone, so you would also see those people that just really cared about the people here, as well as the food, of course. But we're very blessed with great relationships with the people that come in to serve.
And what were your daily operations prior to the COVID-19 pandemic?
Oh, we were open every day except for Christmas and Thanksgiving. We opened up at 7 o'clock Monday through Saturday. On Sundays we open at 8. And we close at 2 every day. We basically serve breakfast and lunch. Lunch started at 11. Sometimes people wanted it early, and if it wasn't super busy, we'd be able to do that. But that was our main hours. We didn't really change any of that since before or after. Like I said, only when they made us shut down the dining room and when they made us do it smaller.
So a few of these kind of ran together a little bit, which is awesome. So moving ahead just a tad, because of all this, being able to keep some of the business model the same, what were some of the changes that you had to implement in the dining room and even back of house to minimize the risk of COVID spread to those who did come inside the restaurant, whether it was employees or the guests at the tables?
So a lot of the mitigation that we did here was really be vigilant in making sure that we wipe down all the surfaces of any place where we would accommodate a guest. We definitely put together tables and brought a whole lot of tables outside so that we would be able to have more spacing. And actually, I missed that, but that was a big part of COVID too. We never had outside seating prior to COVID. The city made us put together a plan. They approved it, and they allowed us to have outside seating. So that really impacted us tremendously, especially during the occupancy limitations when they allowed us to have the outside seating. So a lot of the tables that were inside, we pulled them all outside, and that made a whole lot more distance here. Didn't make it feel crowded, or a lot of places you'd see like roped off sections, but their tables would still be in their buildings. So because we were allowed to do that, we would take a lot of the tables outside and make this look a lot more inviting to the guest, so it didn't look so estrue, if you will. But yeah, so the outside seating really helped us out in that sense, keep people separate, keep people safe. People still enjoy that now, and we've got some tables just for the outside since we've been able to return to our normal occupancy. Everybody in the restaurant, while it's in operation, wears a mask, to respect those at the tables, of course. Help not spread it, if you will. In the kitchen, there are some who do wear it. There are some who don't wear it. It's very hot. There's a lot of fumes back there, so we don't mandate that they wear a mask the entire time they're back there. If they want to wear the mask, they wear it, and if they get really hot, they feel like they need to breathe, because the mask is so restrictive at times, they can take it off and still continue cooking. So, but, by the grace of God, we have not had any kind of outbreak here at this restaurant.
And how do you think protocol changes for a restaurant service have impacted the customer satisfaction, as well as have any of the customers caused a scene due to the new protocol?
The guests that come in here, for the most part, are, I guess they haven't been upset with it. There are those people that they have their opinions. Either way, some people can get very passionate. For the most part, unless there's something else, in my experience, that started any kind of altercation, the masks have never really been something that have been the switch, if you will, that started an altercation either between the guests, guest to guest. As far as in-house, with the masks being what they are, and when you try to speak through a mask, especially the ones that you buy that are disposable, they tend to fall. So sometimes they'll get underneath your nose. And so some of the guests, with their safety, they worry about it being below your nose, so they'll want you to pull it up. And there have been a couple of times where they've come to me and said, "Hey, your server's not wearing their mask properly." And so we do, we let the server know. We apologize, on a very rare occasion, they'll ask for a new server. But by and large, it hasn't really been a huge impact. We try our best to not only make sure they're on our masks properly, but that our servers aren't handling them all the time, because they're still handling everything else with their hands. So that's just another way of contamination. So we go through a lot more paper towels, I think, with the hand washing that we have to do, and more soap, of course. But the servers do a pretty good job of mitigating that, being aware while they're going to and from the guests before they touch their things. There is no contamination, no cross-contamination from a mask. But as far as, at least the cleanliness and the grooming, if you will, of the hand washing, it's definitely vastly improved. I would say probably worldwide, but for my restaurant it has, because of just being more aware.
Now, for the guests that have come in that you do serve, what is the type of demographic that you have? Are a lot of them locals? Are a lot of them visitors from out of state? And do you think a lot of this response has been largely indicative of the local community compared to what you might see in other parts of Pinellas?
For the Frog Pond in St. Pete Beach, we have a lot of people that are from out of state that do come and stay here for large amounts of time, or they come back and forth. We have a lot of local people as well. So we're very diverse in that demographic as far as tourists and local people. Well, if it weren't for the locals, we definitely wouldn't do as well as we do. And we do have a lot of them. But for the most part, it's pretty diverse. We, especially during the season, of course, we're going to get a lot more out-of-towners. And then we have a lot of people that just return every single year from, all over the world. And we look forward to seeing those people. But when they come in, the people that are from the northern states that have done a lot more as far as lockdowns or more government mandates on what they can do, they always find Florida when they come, in my experience, to just be super refreshing as far as the way that we've done our policies. They feel more relaxed, they feel more normal when they come down here, and they're, for the most part, they have a lot of gratitude for that. So the impact there for the people that are from out of town, I think that just coming here feels like a home they don't have, in a sense, because a lot of what we do is maintained relatively unchanged. There's still, everybody does a mask, so everybody's had that. But for the most part, there's just a friendliness and a brother sister kind of feel with the way people interact. Even with the tables, when people are sitting down, they'll talk to each other. They don't have like this distance thing. They want that interaction. They want to talk. They want to feel close to their community. So I get to see that a lot here. It's very encouraging that people still they're not afraid, if you will, of one another. There may be other things to be afraid of, but they're not really afraid of one another.
And as of April 5th, all Floridians 18 and older will be allowed to get vaccinated. So hospitality workers actually weren't part of any of these priority groups that got earlier access to the vaccines. Do you think it would have been beneficial for them to have been given earlier access?
To be quite honest with you, I think that a lot of the people that are in the hospitality industry have come across so many people, have been in the trenches, taking care of so many people, that I would say that most of your hospitality industry has probably been exposed to it in one way or another. I'm sure there are some that haven't, and depending on how they decided to run not only their lives going in and out, but in their restaurants, I would say the chances of most of your hospitality industry having it, whether it's asymptomatically or they went home and they came back and they've already had it, I think that at risk for themselves was probably not. I don't know if the vaccine would have made it more of those people less prone to spreading the disease.
Right.
So I just think in that term, a lot of people got the natural immunity you would get after getting the virus.
And do you think that that would have affected your business operations if they had been vaccinated or if they had been a priority group?
I'm not sure in what way it would have affected my business. I mean, I guess if there was one day where the whole hospitality industry got to go get their vaccinations, then I probably wouldn't be able to operate that day because many people may have taken that opportunity. at least those who were willing to get the vaccine. But I think all in all, I don't see how that would have impacted it either way in the hospitality industry. Where just going to get the vaccine done.
And were you at any point requiring testing for your staff members?
Whenever there would be a case where anybody came with the symptoms and they were worried about it, we expressed to them, go get the vaccine. I'm sorry, not the vaccine. Go get tested and let us know if it was negative or positive to return. And everybody was very forthcoming here whenever they had any kind of symptom that may have been as a result. And if it was, they stayed out of the restaurant for that time. And if there was anybody that was near them, we always monitored to make sure that, if it did get spread, that person would also, go get tested.
Do you feel service industry workers have been adequately prioritized for vaccinations? And do you think this could have helped resume normal operations more quickly?
I think by and large, the way that we've done it here in the state of Florida, prioritizing the elderly population first, and given the mortality rates, I don't think there would be any other reason to do it differently in that case. If you had hospitality workers that had that fit the age requirement, then absolutely they should go and get it if they choose. But I think that the vaccines wouldn't have been available if we did it the right way and made sure that our elderly population was taken care of first and given that opportunity and that priority. Just based on the mortality numbers and figures, most of your hospitality industry is well below the number to get to die from it. I know that we do a lot of, especially in our restaurant, we have a lot of the elderly population that we serve here, and we have been very, very fortunate that we didn't have anything happen in that case where we took care of another person. But the thing is that the vaccine was available to the elderly population, a question that we would highly prioritize to make sure that they stay safe, whether or not one of the servers or anybody in the hospitality industry had that vaccine or not. It would have been more important for the elderly person to have it. And then if a younger person got it, their chances of survival were super, super, super high. So as far as that's concerned, I think that to get things normal, you would want the highest at-risk population vaccinated first. There definitely wasn't enough vaccine to make sure that happened and to do that and to do the first responders. So once again, I think that it's negligible in that capacity for the hospitality industry workers to get it before that target.
Did you receive any federal, state, or local support to help you navigate the early days of the pandemic? And if so, did you find the assistance helpful for you and your staff? And what was the community's reaction if you did receive aid?
So the owners of the Frog Pond did apply for the PPP when it was available, and we were blessed to get that assistance, and it did help us greatly to take care of our staff, those that were still working for us, still struggling, and that helped us to keep our doors open. As far as outside of that, other than the community support we got when we were completely shut down, it was definitely wonderful. It wasn't something that would financially prop us up, though, but every little bit helped, and it did keep some of us working here and being able to maintain our doors being open. And when people were coming in to get our services, we were happy to have them, and they, let people know that we were open. But by and large, the PPP was the number one factor for us. It didn't save our restaurant, our business owners. They're very responsible with their financial capabilities, You know, even with the PPP, they still had to go into their own savings to make sure that all the operations stayed open and viable. But the PPP definitely helped us get through that. That didn't hurt quite as much.
Now, on kind of a little follow-up to that as well, you mentioned earlier the outdoor seating that the city of St. Petersburg Beach had to kind of give you some guidelines on how to establish outdoor seating. Did the local municipality require any other sort of modified operations or statutes going forward, such as the outdoor seating or anything else for the restaurant because of COVID?
So for us, we were told that we were going to be allowed to do patio seating. It didn't come with any caveats other than applying to be for the temporary permit. So as long as we built out the plan, the diagram, and we showed them how we were going to do it, and it was safe for the public, that was all the requirement that was there. It had not come to us at this time with any other compliance ordinance or anything other than respecting what Pinellas County has been doing with their own COVID mitigation. So, yeah, I mean, they've been very open and very helpful in that.
Has your perception of the hospitality industry been altered by your experiences during the pandemic? And if so, in what ways have they changed?
My perspective of the hospitality industry has pretty much always been service. So, you know, regardless of what capacity you come into the restaurant industry, it's to serve other people and whatever capacity you may be serving them, whether they're staying at your hotel or you're feeding them their meal of the day. It's always been service. And I guess the only thing that I would say perspective-wise is just the resiliency of the service industry, of the people that are in it, that aren't afraid, that they definitely wanted to come out and make money in this industry. But just the simple resiliency of the people that work in this industry. They stepped up, you know, even if they could have maybe done some unemployment and all that other stuff. By and large, the people that really matter in this industry, like the nuts and bolts of it, those cooks out there, that the chefs, the servers, those bartenders even, that really are a center point of those businesses, especially the ones that have survived. They've really kept us afloat, you know. And in Florida with tourism, we need those types of people because they're the ones that really bring that experience to the people that come to Florida, to the locals. So I really appreciate their dedication and their hard work to maintaining those standards. I haven't seen a lot of places lessen that standard. If anything, it's been increased because of the virus and these different mandates that we've had to work through. And you speak to any server that's on the beach, and if they have to serve outside, it's really hot. It's difficult in that mask, running around like we do. It's difficult, and they've been asked to do more things that are somewhat restrictive, and they've taken it in stride. You know, definitely frustrating at times, but overall, they just took it and rolled with it, and they've done a fantastic job of keeping our standards and our people happy.
So our next question is, has the Frog Pond experienced any unforeseen benefits as a result of the pandemic?
Unforeseen benefits as a result of the pandemic. Well, the outside seating has definitely been a benefit. We've got a lot of people that come in that really enjoy the outside seating, especially when they are concerned about the virus. We've spoken about it in the past before COVID came, and we kind of just really didn't expand on it until we absolutely had to. So now that we've done it, we've been able to implement the procedure to make it happen smoothly. Learned a lot in the process of what more we would need if we wanted to make it a permanent scenario, and what's possible and what we're capable of. So we've definitely done some growing as a result of the pandemic in terms of the way we can service our people. I would think that maybe our patience and understanding with people, with compassion for those people who are afraid or even have lost people as a result of the virus. We've been allowed to be part of that experience for the guests, the friends and family that do come in here. A lot of us have lost someone that we know from it. And so we've been able to have, I guess, the benefit of growing closer together, not only as a team, but as a community, and working through those struggles together, especially with people that we all knew mutually. So there's been some support there emotionally, and those bonds have strengthened. As far as unforeseen benefits, I think that pretty much does it. I got 10 days off when I got COVID. It was an unforeseen benefit for me. And by the grace of God, I didn't have any kind of real reaction to it. So, benefit for me, maybe the guys wanted me to be here at work for sure. But, that's one way of to lighten it as far as that, the COVID and benefits. But I think mostly just bringing more people together through the same struggles and learning what more we could do.
What will the long-term consequences of the pandemic be for the Frog Pond? And what do you forecast the impact and the consequences for the service industry as a whole?
In Florida right now, I don't see a whole lot of long-standing, long-term effects as a result of COVID-19. No, that's not to say that we don't know what the virus will do years from now to people, and what that might do to the service industry. That's anybody's guess. But from what I can see, other than just making the restaurants more sanitary, I really think that's really a win-win for all restaurant industry. Restaurant, hospitality, keeping things clean. That's what we're supposed to do anyway. And we've done it well for before COVID, and we're just getting better at doing it now. So, unless there's some type of chemical that was new, that was used, that ends up being cancerous, and we find out about it in the long term, that would be the only long-term thing I could see really affecting the Frog Pond. But that would in turn really be everybody. But the Frog Pond, I think that staying open and being open to our guests, I think we've only won. It's been a blessing for us. Not the virus to be a blessing, but just long term moving forward, we haven't really been affected so harshly that it's going to last a long time for us.
This provided the opportunity you needed to kind of refocus and see what can be carried on into the future and what could have maybe stopped now, and kind of just a good way to kind of reassess everything and take it from there.
When do you anticipate your business to return to its normal operations as they were before the pandemic?
Whenever they decide that masks are no longer necessary. As far as seating, we still have some distancing here. So once we don't have to be so aware of the closeness of our guests, I think that would pretty much be it for us. Is when it would be normal. As far as our guests and the capacity with the outside seating for us, financially, our numbers are only stabilizing more. It's at this point, it's appearance and distancing that really goes to that. We have a lot of we had some elderly people that came in strong through it all, you know, just they weren't afraid of it, and you know, they felt safe here, and we kept the place clean, and we made sure that we lessened the opportunity for them to get COVID, you know, with all of the mandated procedures. And you know, they're still going. So there are some people that still haven't come out. So I guess negatively, we've missed a lot of those people. But I'm starting to see a lot more of them come out now because the vaccine is in place. They've gotten it. I have guests that they have been gone for over a year, and you know, they come in here. It's like one of the first places they come to, and they get emotional and they cry. You know, they're like so happy to do something that was normal, and this was the place they wanted to come to first. You know, so having that, knowing that we make that kind of impact on people, makes it real important that we keep it the same as far as our standards are concerned, and that how important it is to them only makes it more important for us in the future. I don't know if that answered your question real well, but
So this will be our concluding inquiry to the interview. How do you feel in regard to the philanthropic campaigns and the media coverage for the restaurant and food service aid? Do you feel they are effectively addressing all the needs of the industry's struggles?
I think that in a lot of ways, this whole country has been struggling with a lot of the same things. You know, whether you're a frontline worker, whether you're anything you're doing that has to do with people and interacting, it's all the same in terms of the procedures that are in place that are mitigating people getting infected. The restaurant industry is a service industry. And I think that there have been a lot of people out there that have helped, that understand. There have been many people who just were doing grants, you know, and that was super nice. But at the same time, there's so many other people that need help too. That, in my opinion, just the attention that the restaurant industry got for any kind of help was tremendous. You know, I'm thankful for, you know, those people that were able to monetarily bring, you know, money out of their pockets to just help people. And I don't know enough to say, you know, what percentage of that works with the amount of people that are in the restaurant industry. But just the fact that it happened and it did help people that, you know, I know personally, is enough to like, you know, people care and they're doing what they can. You know, there's plenty of people I wish I could help, but my pockets are only as deep as they are, and I'm going to do what I can. And as long as that's what we've been doing, you know, I think that with the federal government, with the way they were doing some of these stimulus programs, and with unemployment and helping that out too, as long as you can get through that system, I think that there was a lot of help there. I'm not sure what people's lifestyles were like, you know, but at the same time, I think that it was helpful for a lot of people, especially if they were excessive, to pull back and see what was, you know, really important. You know, so you had that, and I think that there's been a lot of gains just at a social level as a result there. You know, sometimes it's good to struggle with a little to really appreciate the much that you have. So we got a lot of that throughout this time.
Is there anything else you'd like to add for the record while we're here?
Just overall, throughout the entire process, I personally didn't lose a lot of people because of the COVID-19 pandemic. There was a few people we lost that were guests here, One person in particular, he did the photos for the menu. His name's Kirk. Kirk Oates, and I miss him to death. He's the one person I know real tight that did die of the COVID-19 virus. But I didn't have to experience that in such a huge, alarming number for myself. So, and a lot of the people here, they didn't lose a lot of people as a result of it. I know that a lot of people have gone because of it, but overall, the suffering on that, we were spared a lot of that. As in terms of the business and the people that are here, the city, we've been very fortunate, very blessed, and thankful that we've been allowed to continue to operate, and that we're able to do what we do for the people. I'm just glad that we've got that opportunity. But by and large, it's been pretty positive. We've been able to keep everybody that wanted to work here employed, and not only employed, but they're doing very well as far as monetarily. We're able to pay them fairly, and they're able to serve a lot of people that want to come in and enjoy breakfast. But that'd be it. It's not a whole lot of doom and gloom here. We are forever relying on God. FROG.
A lot of frog puns, which is fantastic. It definitely is in theme of the restaurant, and that's awesome. We thank you for sitting down with us. It has been a great experience, Alex. Appreciate it very much.
Very nice speaking to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.